Hi, it's Kim here from the TSS. In this video, we're quickly going to look at how to use the timeslip generate feature. So on the timeslip entry screen, you'll see a button that says generate. What you can do is you can click this button here. You can choose your race distance and enter the ET in the left and the right lanes. And when you press OK, it'll automatically create a timeslip for you. So you can efficiently create timeslips with just a few clicks. So here we are with the newly created timeslip. You can see the incrementals there. By default, it sets the reaction time to 02 in both lanes. Now, if you want to manipulate the timeslip in some way, so you can just obviously, you can change the reaction time, for example. If you wanted to hold a few numbers, for example, you just increase the dial in. So here I've running a 480 on a 482. So I'm going 200s under in this instance. You can obviously go over the ET by changing the dial in. So 478, I'm 200s over. Or you can also do a back off if you like. So change the ET to, in this instance, backing off by 200s at the finish line. So that's how you can use the generate function to create a time slip efficiently from scratch. Why would you want to do that? Well, there's three basic reasons why you'd want to use the generate feature. The first one is you can use it for practicing. So you can set up some races here using the generate feature where, let's say, you're typically running a 480 and you want to see what the track position looks like against various opponents running different ETs. So you create time slips for each of those. And then I'm just going to change this back to 480. And then when you go to the simulate screen, and I'll turn off these, I can change the view back to the left lane. Let's say you're in the left lane and you wanted to simulate running against 540 type opponents. Change the pause here to the auto pause to left lane. So when I play this race, and I get to the 60 foot, I can then see where my opponent is. And let's continue it. And now I'm at the 330, and that's where my opponent would be if it was a dead heat. And that's what it looks like at the mile-an-hour cone. So it allows you to practice what track position looks like against various opponents and sort of decide whether you think you're going to get there first, you're not going to get there, or it's too close to call. So this is a great tool for training purposes, to learn about track position and what you can expect when you're running against an opponent who runs that particular ET. I will go into that in further detail, where we'll talk about how to keep yourself sharp between events. So if I just go back to the timeslip entry screen here, the other way that you can use it is you can use the generate feature to teach new racers about the fundamentals of drag racing. So generate some time slips using the generate feature. Then, for example, manipulate reaction time to show how much reaction time affects the outcome of a race. You can show them what a double breakout looks like. You can show them what sort of the idea of total packages, so your reaction time plus the amount of time over your dial in. So all the fundamentals of bracket racing, you can basically show new racers using the generate feature to quickly create time slips that are representative of different bracket racing scenarios, if you like. And last but not least, on race day, you can use the generate feature. And let's say you're seeded and you know that who your next opponent is, and you know what their dial-in is. So you can actually create a time slip and then run the race before it happens. See what the track position is, so that when you actually go into the race, let's say by 3:30, you should have a good picture of where they should be if you're in front at that position on the track. Then you've sort of got an advantage because you've already run the race before it's happened, and you can then gauge track position and determine whether you're in front or behind your opponent, and therefore adjust your finish line strategy. Once again, we'll go into that also in more detail. So that wraps up the generate function. So it allows you to practice against different types of ETs and looking at the track position. It's sort of seat time without the expense for teaching new racers about the fundamentals of bracket racing, and it allows you to run your race on race day before it happens. See you in the next video.